the Ultimate Warriors promos. So really famous. I'll get onto them in a minute. But can you tell me on, and you'll probably know from the before generation, after generation, the WWF generation almost. What were the promos like as far as the schedule throughout the day? How many would you have to do? What cities would you direct them to?
When I first started, we had every 3 weeks, Allentown on a Tuesday, Hamburg on a Wednesday. And we get there, say around 11 o'clock, lunchtime, and the truck, the camera would already be running, and Vince would be doing intros for this Saturday in Philadelphia, this Saturday, Allen, this Friday in, Pittsburgh, and, he'd be doing, and then you'd come and they'd have a number of cards, any number of as many as they could get through until the wrestling started at 7 o'clock, so they'd break at 6. So all the wrestling cards, and this was pretty much at the time just in the East Coast area, from Maine to Washington D.C., as far west as Pittsburgh. So, and all the cities, the Scrantons and the Altoonas and the Elizabeths and all the cities in between, not to mention the big Bostons and Washington D.C. and Baltimore's and Philadelphia's and New Haven's and those big markets like that pretty much Madison Square Garden had occupied the weekends. But you'd have different TV inserts to all these other little areas, like Scranton PV or all these areas that have their own television network running and their own WWE, WWF programs coming on their market. So you personalize. I'm fighting you Tuesday night, Scranton, 8 o'clock in a cage at I think it was the CYO Hall or something like that. Be there. And that's that was I run anywhere. Well, sometimes as short as 30, but from a minute to like the 202, a minute to 2 minutes, and you would have to get in. Like I said, I'm fighting you in a cage in Scranton on August 10th at 8 p.m. at the CYO, and then get your own personality, try and slip your own personality in there. After all that, all the girls be lined up there dying to see me and everything else, as I come in on a stretcher. You're trying to sell your own personality as well as that within that minute period, So it was, and now they're going to the 10, 20-minute runs, yeah.
Did you ever have did someone have a board under the camera saying Tuesday, 21st, Scranton, Pennsylvania, or did you just have to remember 30 different places one after another?
Howard Finkel put up a little white piece of paper, 8 by 10, tape it to the camera, or you have it, or Vince would have maybe 2 or 3 copies going around. Howard had one, the TV camera had one, and Vince had one. Maybe not even that, maybe Howard was feeding, but you look at it, okay. And you remember, if maybe we did something 2 or 3 weeks ago in Scranton to come back in this cage, to come back in this type of match. And then I remember last time, you cheated and you did me wrong. So that's why I'm coming back to get you in the cage, whatever the case may be.
Do you remember, so when WWF goes national, so we're talking, let's say a few years on, 86, 87, 88, and you're doing all these interviews, was there one town, there wasn't a major market like New York or Chicago or wherever, where you were directed to really go crazy and promote? So let's say the Cape Cod Melody tent really hit that hard. Was there one odd town that really seemed to have a lot of attention?
Not to my recollection. I don't think so. Vince won the game. We picked up Vince Cape Cod because that used to be that was Vince's town, Vince Jr. That was his hometown, his park. Now he's Stanford, but I think back in those days, Cape Cod was where he lived.
Yeah, didn't he have that arena before he had the WWF? Was that his first project? I think, or am I going crazy?
I believe so. Yeah, I think he had a hockey. I heard he had a semi-pro hockey team or something there. Not certain, but
Yeah.
rumor has it.
Do you remember Warriors promo specifically? And did you ever see him practicing the weird things that he would say, like in the locker room or just in a corner, sort of mumbling to himself?
No, like I said, it was early. It was early, and he was pretty much firing straight from the hip. At the time, the Warriors, the Warrior fan, and this and that, and the Warrior, when the Warrior comes after you, you're gonna. So it's pretty much straight shot. I remember when I got back to Hawaii and seeing some of his promos that they'd gone pretty deep. He was one time he had the mask, Papa Shango, and he had blood coming out of the mask, or I don't know, it was blood or ink or something coming out.
Yeah.
Of his mask.
I think it was squid ink. It just.
Yeah. No, one time he actually had a hose or something shooting stuff, a little tube or something shooting that I was watching on TV, and I was, whoa, it's getting, he's out there, but yeah, he had creative control. You don't just do that. I mean, you don't just get on a promo and start having blood running out of your mask. If you're not in sync with the camera and the office and the production crew and everybody else, it's just. So he had creative input.
Do you remember the A&E documentary? And there's a brief bit where you're in it, and Ultimate Warrior's, I don't know, chanting to the heavens or whatever, and you're in the background and you can't stop laughing. Davey Boy Smith's in the foreground, he can't stop laughing, and I think there's a junkyard dog who's probably just looking out in the corner somewhere. Did you notice yourself on like 5 seconds of that documentary?
No, what was he talking about?
It was the A&E documentary. You were on it for like 5 seconds in the background.
Oh, I got to look at it again.
It's funny. You've got the biggest smile on your face because you probably just listen to this dude and going, "Oh my God."
Yeah, he could do you listen to it. It wasn't your standard, wasn't your standard stuff. He was got, but wrestling was changing, and it was everything was on the managers were almost gone except for Bobby Heenan and DiBiase. I think the managers were gone, and Fuji, of course. But there were no longer any managers, just a girl, Sherry and Elizabeth, the different types. So all those, the Wizard and Lou and Blassie and all those, that type of manager had gone, and everybody else was like a hands-on in the arena manager, that traveled with their charges.